How much of your life have you spent trying to prove that you matter to people who were never truly watching? What if everything you've been told about focusing on yourself is quietly ruining your peace? You try to stay strong, stay positive, stay connected, yet inside there's noise you cannot escape. The harder you try to be seen, the more invisible you feel. Buddhism reveals a truth most ignore. Your suffering begins the moment you seek yourself in others. Look at your life. Are you living freely or reacting constantly? In this video, something subtle but powerful will shift. Your doorway to calm, clarity, and timeless Buddhist insight. Stay until the end. There's a bonus lesson few ever discover. What happens when you stop explaining, stop chasing, and choose silence? Watch closely, because once you see this, you won't need another answer again. Stop abandoning your inner center. You say you feel lost, but is life truly confusing, or is your attention simply scattered? Look closely. Your mind runs in many directions, seeking approval, replaying conversations, chasing validation. And in this quiet exhaustion, you begin to forget who you are. A wise voice once whispered, "Where attention goes, identity follows." So tell me, if your attention belongs to the world, then who does your identity belong to? Like a river broken into 1,000 streams, your strength has been diluted. Each distraction takes a piece of you. Every opinion you try to satisfy, every expectation you try to meet. And, slowly, without noticing, you abandon your inner center. This is the hidden suffering, not loud, not dramatic, but deeply draining. You are everywhere except within yourself. And when you are nowhere within, peace cannot find you. So ask yourself honestly, where is your attention leaking the most? There is a quiet teaching. Silence is not the absence of power. It is power that no longer needs permission. When you stop explaining, stop reacting, stop chasing, something begins to return. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine calling back your energy from every person, every worry, every imagined future. Feel it returning, gently, like breath filling an empty chest. This is not withdrawal. This is restoration. But what would remain if you truly stopped giving yourself away? In this noisy world, staying silent is not weakness. It is discipline. It is choosing not to scatter your energy on what does not serve your growth. When you focus inward, something shifts. Your thoughts become clearer. Your emotions soften. You no longer react to everything because you are rooted in something deeper, and suddenly you are no longer chasing life, you are standing within it. So begin simply. Notice where your attention goes today. Gently bring it back, again and again. Not with force, but with awareness. This is how you rebuild your center. This is how you reclaim your mind. And in that stillness, a powerful truth will reveal itself. The moment you stop seeking the world's attention is the moment you finally return to yourself. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My focus is unstoppable." 2. Break the addiction to being seen. You say you want connection, but look deeper, with honesty that does not comfort you. Beneath that desire, there is a quieter hunger, the need to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be confirmed by someone else's eyes. And this hunger begins to shape your choices, your words, even your silence. A subtle truth arises here. The need to be seen is the fear of being nothing. So tell me, when no one is watching, do you still feel whole, or do you begin to disappear within yourself? Like a flame begging the wind for approval, you flicker. One moment confident, the next uncertain. One moment full, the next empty, because your sense of self depends on how others respond. This is the hidden addiction, not to people, but to validation. And the cost is heavy. You lose your stillness, you lose your center, You become a reflection of reactions rather than a source of your own light. So pause. Do you truly seek connection, or are you seeking permission to exist? There is a quiet teaching. When you stop explaining yourself, you stop handing others the authority to define you. Sit with this, close your eyes, and imagine yourself alone, unseen, unheard, untouched by opinions. At first, there is discomfort, a restlessness that whispers, "This is not enough." But stay, watch carefully. Beneath that discomfort, something softer begins to emerge, a quiet peace that does not ask to be noticed. What if this peace is your true nature? In a world that rewards noise, silence becomes your discipline. Not silence to hide, but silence to detach. You no longer chase eyes to feel real. You no longer perform to feel worthy. How much of your life have you spent trying to prove that you matter to people who were never truly watching? What if you begin to exist without needing applause, and in that shift, something powerful happens. You become steady, unmoved, whole within yourself. So, practice this gently. Do one thing today without telling anyone. Sit without reaching for distraction. Speak less. Observe more. Let your actions belong to you, not to an audience. And ask yourself, again and again, who am I without being seen? Because the moment you no longer need validation is the moment you become someone the world cannot shake. 3. Stop explaining your existence. Why do you feel the need to explain who you are to everyone who misunderstands you? Sit with that question without rushing to answer. Somewhere along the way, you were taught that your existence must be justified, that your choices must be defended, your silence filled, your truth explained. But notice what this does to you. Each explanation becomes a small surrender, a quiet bending, and over time, you forget your own shape. So tell me, what are you always trying to prove, and to whom? There is a quiet truth. The one who explains too much loses authority over themselves. When you constantly clarify, defend, and correct, you begin to live in reaction, not in alignment. Like a tree that bends to every passing wind, you lose your stillness. You become flexible in all the wrong ways, adjusting your truth to fit someone else's comfort. And this is where suffering begins. Not because others misunderstand you, but because you abandon yourself in the process. Imagine this moment. Someone misunderstands you. They form an opinion that is incomplete, even unfair. And instead of rushing to correct them, you remain silent. At first, your chest tightens. Your mind urges you to speak, to fix, to be seen clearly. But you don't. You stay still. And in that stillness, something unexpected appears. A sense of power, a quiet strength that does not need approval to exist. What if silence is not weakness, but protection? There is a teaching often overlooked. Silence is not empty. It is full of answers you no longer need to explain. When you stop explaining, you reclaim your energy. You stop feeding every misunderstanding with your attention. You allow others to see what they are ready to see, and nothing more. This is not indifference. This is clarity. You are no longer responsible for how others perceive you. You are only responsible for how truthfully you live. So, begin this practice gently. The next time you feel the urge to over-explain, pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, what would silence protect within me right now? Let your actions speak, and let your peace remain undisturbed. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world, because the moment you stop explaining your existence is the moment you finally start living it fully and without permission. 4. Face the inner judge. You walk through life feeling watched, measured, quietly judged. Every move feels observed, every mistake amplified. But pause here. Look deeper. Is it truly the world watching you, or is it something far closer? There is a subtle truth many avoid. The harshest observer lives within. And once you see this, something shifts. The pressure you feel, it is not coming from outside. It is being created moment by moment inside your own mind. So ask yourself honestly, what if no one is judging you at all? Like a shadow that follows you into every room, your inner judge never leaves. It speaks in familiar tones, criticizing, doubting, comparing. It tells you that you are not enough, not ready, not worthy, and over time, you stop questioning it. You accept it as truth. But listen carefully. Whose voice is this? Is it truly yours, or is it an echo from your past? Someone who once made you feel small, someone whose approval you could never fully reach. When did you begin speaking to yourself this way? Sit quietly for a moment, close your eyes, let the noise settle, and listen, not to the world, but to the voice within. Notice how quickly it judges, how easily it finds fault. Now, instead of resisting it, observe it. Do not argue, do not obey, just watch. In that space of awareness, something powerful happens. You begin to separate from it. You realize this voice is not you. It is a pattern, a habit, and what is learned can be unlearned. There is a quiet teaching. You are not the voice that speaks, you are the one who hears it. When you stop identifying with the inner judge, it loses its authority. It no longer controls your worth, your actions, your peace. You begin to move differently, not from fear of judgment, but from clarity of being. And in that clarity, silence becomes your refuge, not a place to hide, but a place to return to yourself. So, practice this gently. The next time judgment arises, pause, notice it, ask, who is speaking right now? And instead of following it, come back to your breath, your body, your presence. Let that voice pass like a cloud that cannot stay, because the moment you stop believing your inner judge is the moment you finally experience freedom from it. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My focus is unstoppable." 5. Withdraw from the external gaze. You have learned to live as if someone is always watching, even when no one is there. Your posture, your words, your choices, subtly adjusted for invisible eyes. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin to drift away from yourself. There is a quiet truth hidden here. When you live for eyes, you lose your own vision. So pause and ask, how much of your life is real and how much of it is performance? Like a mirror reflecting everyone else, you adapt, reshape, refine, until your original face becomes unfamiliar. You start choosing what looks right instead of what feels true. You measure your worth through reactions, not through inner clarity. And this is where alienation begins, not from the world, but from yourself. You become a stranger to your own thoughts, your own desires. Tell me, what are you afraid people will see if you stop performing? There is a deeper layer to this suffering. It is not just about being seen, it is about fearing what will be revealed when the gaze disappears. Because without an audience, there is no distraction, no role to play, no mask to hold. Only you remain. And for many, this silence feels uncomfortable, even frightening. But what if this discomfort is not emptiness, but the doorway to truth? Imagine this moment. You turn away from every watching eye, real or imagined. No one to impress, no one to convince. Just you, standing quietly within yourself. At first, there is restlessness, a pull to return to the familiar noise. But stay, let the silence deepen. Slowly, something begins to emerge. Not an image, not a role, but a presence. Steady, unmoving, real. When was the last time you met yourself without distraction? There is a quiet teaching. Freedom begins the moment you stop needing to be witnessed. When you withdraw from the external gaze, you reclaim your inner sight. You begin to see clearly, not what others expect, but what is true for you. Your decisions become lighter, your mind becomes still, and your energy, once scattered across countless impressions, begins to gather back into a single grounded center. So practice this with intention. Do something today that no one will see. Sit without reaching for validation. Move without imagining how it appears. Let your actions belong to your awareness, not to an audience. And gently ask yourself, who am I without observation? Because the moment you stop living through others' eyes is the moment you finally see your own life, clearly and without distortion. 6. Embrace sacred solitude. You avoid being alone, not because you dislike solitude, but because of what it reveals. When the noise fades, when the distractions fall away, you are left with something raw, something honest, and that honesty can feel unsettling. But listen carefully, solitude is not loneliness. It is the space where your true self waits. A quiet truth echoes here. Silence reveals what noise hides. So ask yourself, why does silence make you uncomfortable? Like the moon that appears only in still water, your truth cannot be seen in a restless mind. When you are constantly surrounded by sound, by stimulation, by voices, you lose access to your own. You fill every empty moment, not realizing that the emptiness you fear is actually depth. And this is the reversal most people never see. What you run from is exactly where your clarity lives. What are you avoiding when you refuse to sit with yourself? There is a deeper layer to this. Solitude strips away identity, no roles to play, no expectations to meet, no one to become for anyone else. Just you, as you are. And for a moment, that can feel like losing something. But stay a little longer. Beneath that discomfort, there is a gentle stillness, a presence that does not demand, does not perform, does not pretend. When was the last time you met yourself without needing to change anything? Imagine this clearly. You are sitting alone, in complete silence. No phone, no conversation, no escape, just breath, rising and falling. At first, your mind resists. It searches for something to hold on to. But you remain, you observe. And slowly, like clouds passing through an open sky, your thoughts begin to settle. In that quiet, something deeper begins to speak, not in words, but in awareness. A calm recognition of who you are beneath everything you carry. There is a quiet teaching. In stillness, you do not find yourself. You remember yourself. This is the sacred shift. Solitude is not taking you away from life. It is bringing you back to it. Without distortion, you begin to see clearly, feel deeply, live truthfully. And from this place, your actions no longer come from emptiness, but from wholeness. So begin gently. Give yourself moments of true silence each day. Sit without distraction. Walk without noise. Let the discomfort rise and pass. Do not run. Do not fill it. Just be present and ask yourself, what truth is waiting for me here? Because the moment you stop fearing solitude is the moment you discover a peace that no one can take from you. 7. Discipline your inner world. A distracted mind feels normal until you notice the chaos it creates. Your thoughts jump, your emotions react, your focus breaks, and life begins to feel heavy, unclear, scattered. But pause here. This is not life happening to you. This is the result of an undisciplined inner world. A quiet truth rises. Master your mind, or it will master you. So, ask yourself honestly, are you guiding your thoughts, or are you obeying them? Like a garden left unattended, your mind does not stay empty, it grows. But without awareness, it grows wild. Doubt, comparison, fear, endless noise. And over time, you start living inside that overgrowth. You react without thinking. You worry without reason. You chase without direction. This is how suffering multiplies, not from the outside, but from within. What dominates your thoughts each day, and who allowed it to take root? There is a deeper shift waiting here. Discipline is not force. It is gentle, consistent return. Imagine sitting quietly, watching your thoughts drift. One thought pulls you away, then another. But instead of following, you guide your attention back. Again, and again, and again. No frustration, no judgment, just awareness, returning home. Can you feel the calm in that control? There is a quiet teaching. The mind is a tool. When you stop worshipping it, you start using it. This is where power begins. You no longer believe every thought. You no longer react to every impulse. You observe. You choose. You respond. And in that space between thought and action, your freedom lives. What would change in your life if your mind became clear, steady, disciplined? But here is the truth most avoid. Discipline feels uncomfortable at first. Your mind will resist. It will seek distraction, noise, escape, because it is used to being in control. But stay firm, not harsh. Return your attention like a steady hand guiding a restless child. Over time, the noise softens, the mind obeys, and something powerful takes its place: clarity. So begin today. Notice one thought that does not serve you and let it pass. Bring your focus back to your breath, your task, your presence. Do this not once, but repeatedly. This is how you train your mind. This is how you reshape your reality from within. Because the moment you discipline your inner world is the moment your outer world begins to fall into place with quiet precision. 8. Release the fear of being misunderstood. You spend so much of your life trying to be understood, shaping your words, adjusting your truth, softening your edges, just so others can see you clearly. But pause for a moment. Is this clarity you seek, or is it acceptance? And what if the cost of being understood is losing the parts of you that are real? A quiet truth emerges here. To be misunderstood is to be independent. So tell me, why do you need everyone to understand you? Not everyone will see you as you are. Some will misunderstand your silence as weakness. Others will misread your distance as indifference, and the instinct will rise to correct them, to explain, to prove your intention. But look closely at this impulse. It is not peace, it is fear. The fear of being seen incorrectly. The fear of losing control over your image. But what happens when you release that need? Like a mountain untouched by passing clouds, you remain steady. Opinions drift in. Judgments pass through. But you do not move. You no longer chase clarity in the minds of others. You rest in clarity within yourself. Imagine this moment. Someone misunderstands you completely. And instead of reacting, you remain calm. No defense, no correction, just quiet presence. Can you feel the strength in that stillness? There is a deeper teaching hidden here. When you stop needing to be understood, you stop living in reaction. This is where freedom begins. You are no longer tied to how others interpret you. You are no longer adjusting your truth to fit their perspective. You simply live grounded, aware, undisturbed. And in that state, something powerful happens. You become unshakable. But this path is not easy. The mind will resist. It will whisper, "Fix this, explain this, make them see." And each time, you must choose differently. Not with force, but with awareness. Let the misunderstanding exist. Let it pass. Ask yourself, what truly changes if they never understand me? Does your truth become less real? Or does it become stronger because it no longer depends on approval? So practice this gently. The next time you feel misunderstood, do nothing. Stay still. Let your silence speak for you. Not everyone is meant to see you fully, and that is not your burden to carry. Because the moment you accept being misunderstood is the moment you become free from needing to be seen at all. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, Just type, "My focus is unstoppable." 9. Stop comparing your path. You look at others, their progress, their success, their timing, and something inside you begins to shrink. Quietly, almost unnoticed, you measure your life against theirs. And in that moment, you step away from your own path. There is a gentle truth here. Comparison is the quiet denial of your own journey. So pause and ask, who are you comparing yourself to, and what is it costing you? Like a seed that digs itself up every day to check if it has grown, you interrupt your own becoming. You rush what is meant to unfold slowly. You doubt what is still forming, and instead of nurturing your path, you question it. But growth does not respond to pressure, it responds to patience. Tell me, what are you ignoring within your own life because your eyes are fixed on someone else's? There is a deeper illusion at work. You believe that someone else is ahead and you are behind. But this belief is built on fragments. What you see, not what is real. You do not see their struggles, their doubts, their unseen effort. You only see outcomes. And by comparing your full journey to someone else's visible moment, you create unnecessary suffering. What would your path feel like if you stopped measuring it altogether? Imagine this clearly. You are walking alone, no one ahead, no one behind. Just your steps, your pace, your direction. There is no race here, no audience, no timeline to chase. At first, it feels unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. But stay. Slowly, a quiet peace begins to settle. You are no longer distracted, no longer divided, just present, moving forward, one step at a time. Can you feel the freedom in that? There is a quiet teaching. A flower does not compete with another. It blooms. It does not rush. It does not compare. It simply becomes what it is meant to be. And in doing so, it fulfills its purpose completely. What would growth look like for you if it was no longer influenced by comparison? So begin this shift gently. Each time comparison arises, bring your attention back to your own life, your effort, your progress, your path. Trust its timing, honor its pace. Because the moment you stop comparing your journey is the moment you finally allow yourself to grow fully and without interference. 10. Accept imperfection as truth. You keep trying to fix yourself as if something inside you is broken. You hide certain parts, soften others, and chase an image of perfection that always seems just out of reach. But pause here, quietly. What if nothing within you is a mistake? What if the tension you feel comes not from your flaws, but from your resistance to them? A deeper truth begins to surface. Perfection is the ego's illusion. So ask yourself, what part of you are still rejecting? Like cracked pottery that still holds water, your imperfections are not signs of failure. They are evidence of a life lived. Every flaw carries a story. Every scar holds a lesson. But when you deny them, when you try to erase them, you disconnect from your own reality. You begin chasing a version of yourself that does not exist. And in that chase, you lose peace. Tell me, why must you be perfect to feel worthy? There is a quiet suffering in pretending, in constantly adjusting who you are to match who you think you should be. It creates distance between your outer life and your inner truth. And the longer this continues, the heavier it feels. But something shifts the moment you stop fighting yourself, not improving, not growing, but resisting. Because growth comes from acceptance, not rejection. What changes when you allow yourself to be exactly as you are in this moment? Imagine this clearly. You sit with yourself without judgment. You see your flaws, not as enemies, but as marks of experience. There is no urge to fix, no need to hide, only awareness. At first, it feels unfamiliar, even a little uncomfortable. But slowly, the resistance begins to soften, and in its place, something calm and steady appears. Acceptance. Can you feel the relief of not needing to be anything else? There is a gentle lesson. What you accept, you transform. What you resist, you strengthen. When you accept your imperfections, they lose their control over you. They no longer define who you are. They simply exist within you. And from that place, real change becomes possible. Not forced, not desperate, but natural. So start here. Notice one part of yourself you often reject. Instead of turning away, sit with it. Try to understand it. Accept it, not as a flaw to fix, but as a truth to hold gently. Because the moment you stop chasing perfection is the moment you truly feel the peace of being whole, just as you are. Return fully to yourself. You have been running for so long, chasing approval, chasing success, chasing a version of yourself that always feels just out of reach. And in all this constant movement, you have forgotten something simple, something quiet. You have forgotten how to just be. Pause here, breathe. Ask yourself honestly, what are you still chasing, and why does it feel like you cannot stop? There is a truth that does not shout, but changes everything. What you stop chasing stops controlling you. As long as you run after something outside, it holds power over you. It defines your worth. It shapes your mood. It decides your peace. And slowly, without even noticing, your life becomes a reaction to what you pursue. But what happens when you step out of that chase? Like a wave returning to the ocean, there is a natural movement within you, a pull back to your own center. But you resist it. You stay distracted. You keep searching outside, because stillness feels unfamiliar. It feels like you are losing something. But look deeper. Are you really losing, or are you finally letting go of what was never yours to carry? Imagine this moment clearly. You release everything you have been holding on to, the need to prove, the need to be seen, the need to become something more. You let it all fall away. At first, there is emptiness, a quiet space where your usual identity once lived. But stay there. Do not rush to fill it. Slowly, something begins to rise, not effort, not desire, but presence. A calm awareness that does not chase, does not lack, does not seek. Can you feel the peace in that? There is a gentle lesson. You do not find yourself by adding more. You find yourself by returning. This is the shift most people miss. You are not becoming someone new. You are remembering who you were before the noise, before the pressure, before the constant need to move forward. And in that remembering, control fades away. The world no longer pulls you in every direction because you are no longer reaching for it. So begin this return slowly. Notice what you are chasing today. Pause before you follow it. Sit in the space it leaves behind. Let yourself feel complete, even without it. Because the moment you stop chasing the world is the moment you finally return home to yourself. And nothing outside can control you anymore. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're unsure what to say, just type, "My focus is unstoppable." Bonus: silence is your hidden strength. You have been taught to respond, to defend, to explain, to react, as if your power lies in how quickly you speak, how strongly you prove yourself. But pause here, in this quiet moment. What if your true strength has never been in your reaction, but in your control? A deeper truth begins to appear. In silence, truth becomes clearer. So ask yourself, what happens when you stop reacting? Silence is not emptiness. It is presence without noise. It is awareness that does not rush to fill the space. And in that space, something rare begins to grow: clarity. When you stop speaking out of impulse, you begin to see more clearly. You hear what is truly being said. You feel what is really happening within you. And slowly, your actions become intentional, not automatic. Tell me, Where in your life could silence help you today? Like the calm center of a storm, your power does not exist in the chaos. It exists in the stillness that remains untouched by it. Imagine your next conflict. Someone speaks harshly, expecting a reaction. The old pattern rises within you, to defend, to argue, to match their energy. But this time, you choose silence, not as suppression, but as control. You stay present. You do not feed the moment. And suddenly, the energy shifts. Can you feel the strength in not reacting? There is a quiet lesson. Silence is not weakness. It is power that no longer seeks validation. When you stop reacting, you stop giving others control over your inner state. You are no longer pulled by every word, every opinion, every trigger. You become grounded, steady, free. And from that stillness, when you do choose to speak, your words carry weight because they come from clarity, not emotion. But this path requires trust. The mind will tell you that silence means losing, that not responding means being ignored. But look deeper. Is constant reaction really strength, or is it just a habit? What would change if you trusted silence as your foundation, not your escape? So begin here. In your next moment of tension, pause, breathe. Let the urge to react pass through you without acting on it. Choose stillness over noise, presence over impulse, because the moment you master silence is the moment you discover a power within you that nothing outside can disturb. Quick summary of principles. Stop leaving your inner center. You feel lost because your attention is scattered across people, expectations, and distractions. Your energy is being used everywhere except within yourself. Clarity begins the moment you take your focus back. When your attention turns inward, your identity becomes stable. Break the need to be seen. The desire for validation quietly controls your choices and emotions. You are not seeking connection. You are seeking approval to exist. This dependence weakens your sense of self-worth. Freedom begins when you no longer need to be recognized. Stop explaining your existence. Over-explaining is a sign of seeking permission to be accepted. The more you justify yourself, the less authority you hold. Not everyone needs to understand you. Silence protects your identity and builds self-respect. Face your inner judge. The judgment you fear from others often comes from within. Your inner critic is shaped by past experiences and conditioning. It distorts how you see reality and yourself. Awareness of this voice is the first step toward freedom. Step away from the external gaze. Living for others' opinions disconnects you from your true self. You begin to act, think, and feel based on external approval. This creates inner conflict and emotional exhaustion. True alignment begins when you stop performing for others. Embrace meaningful solitude. Solitude helps you reconnect with your true self. Discomfort in silence reveals what you have been avoiding. It creates space for clarity, healing, and awareness. Growth begins when you stop escaping your own presence. Discipline your inner world. An undisciplined mind leads to chaos, distraction, and suffering. Your thoughts shape your emotions and actions. Consistency in awareness builds mental strength. Mastery begins when you take control of your inner dialogue. Let go of the fear of being misunderstood. Not being understood is a natural part of individuality. Trying to be understood by everyone leads to self-betrayal. Acceptance of this truth builds emotional independence. Peace comes when you stop needing approval from everyone. Stop comparing your path. Comparison distracts you from your unique journey. It creates unnecessary pressure and dissatisfaction. Your growth cannot be measured against others. Progress begins when you focus only on your path. Accept imperfection as truth. Perfection is an unrealistic standard that creates suffering. Your flaws do not define your worth. Growth comes through acceptance, not self-rejection. Self-respect begins when you embrace your imperfections. Return fully to yourself. Constant chasing keeps you disconnected from inner peace. External pursuits often replace inner fulfillment. Letting go restores balance and clarity. You regain power when you stop seeking validation outside. Silence is your hidden strength. Silence is a conscious choice, not weakness. It prevents unnecessary conflict and emotional drain. It allows you to observe instead of react. True strength is shown in controlled stillness. There is a deeper truth most people spend their whole lives avoiding. You were never truly lost. You were simply distracted by noise, expectations, and the constant need to be seen. The more you tried to prove yourself, the further you moved away from your own center. But the moment you choose silence, something changes, not outside, but within. And in that stillness, you begin to see clearly for the first time. Zen philosophy teaches us, the quieter you become, the more you can hear. Not just the world, but your own truth, your own direction, your own strength. You do not need more validation, more approval, or more noise. You need less. Less distraction, less explanation, less reaction. Because everything you are searching for has always been waiting in silence. So take a moment today not to chase, not to prove, not to impress, but simply to be, and ask yourself, if I stopped seeking validation and stayed silent, what would finally reveal itself within me?